1010XL 92.5 FM.
Hi, welcome in. Glad you're along for the ride. The new drug today is, in addition to another joint practice, the final day of training camp per usual. The real training camp is over today. Final day was a joint practice with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's the new thing. The other thing is the SEC spoke right after we talked yesterday, didn't they?
They did.
We said right after the Big Ten made its comment that we're not taking pro players, the SEC said, oh, we're not taking them either. And unlike the Big Ten, which said, here's what the penalties are, the SEC said, we'll allow Greg Sankey to decide what the penalties are. So, we made the comment 2 days ago. I think it was my take, the 10-10 take, that Greg Sankey should stand up right now and say, we don't want anyone doing this. Well, the Big Ten went one better and said, we're not going to allow anybody to do it. And now the SEC too. So I'm going to get to a lot of Jaguar talk, but I do want to start with this. And Brett Hastings is going to join us in a few minutes to talk about it. But significant happening, at least for the moment, in college athletics.
Yeah, and it starts with, this wasn't a Greg Sankey decision. It just like in the Big Ten, it starts with the university presidents and the athletic directors and what do they want. And it was unanimous in the Big Ten. I thought it was really interesting. It was unanimous in the SEC, which means LSU's president signed off on really doing something that Lane Kiffin is going to view as hurting the football program. But I have to imagine that president, and I have no idea LSU's president's name, but for the purposes of this, we'll call him Jim Bob Cooter. I think
that from now on he will be Jim Bob Cooter.
But I think I can only imagine the peer pressure that was, on him to go along with it, and he probably quickly was able to read the room and say, well, I'm going to lose anyway. There's no point in being in losing this 15-1.
That's right.
Where the nation knows that we're for this from the top down. So, but I did think it was interesting that it went through unanimously, and Greg Sankey will have the authority to issue whatever penalties he wants to issue. But this is now a problem for Lane Kiffin because he was counting on 2 or 3 of these guys, obviously. To take the chance of, disrupting your locker room. So now it leaves LSU in a tough spot.
It's a problem for Lane Kiffin because 4 or 5 of his 85 players. It's a problem for Will Wade, who 7 of his 12 players he's got no players.
That's amazing.
Four players on his roster.
Is that what it is? He's got 4. If you don't count the guys that played pro, he doesn't have any players. That's who it's a problem for. It's a problem for Will Wade. But anyway, we'll talk more about that coming up in a bit. And by the way, Mark Schlabach from ESPN reported a half an hour ago that the penalties will be similar to the Big Ten penalty. A half-season suspension for the coach, which matches 50% of the sport's annual budget. How about that? And revocation of league voting rights. Who cares about that? But so if Lane Kiffin takes one of these guys, he sits out 6 games.
Yeah. So obviously he's not doing that.
Yeah, unless Lane wants to go to the beach for 6 games.
Yeah.
He's probably so. We'll talk more about that coming on. So a lot of things. And Brett Hastings will join us. I'm going to ask Brett point blank. He's the lawyer. He's our legal analyst. He's been the legal analyst on my various shows for 20 years. I'm going to ask him point blank, will this hold up in court? That's the question. And I got a lot of thoughts on that. We'll get to this. That's a big story. Day 2 of joint practices with the Bucs. As we expected, shells today. No full pads. What'd you make of it?
It was a total dud in terms of, what we saw yesterday. I don't mean that performance-wise.
Yeah.
It was Jags did fine, Bucs did fine because they basically didn't really have a joint practice. They did a little bit of 7-on-7, but then for the last, hour and, probably at last hour and change, they basically just did their own thing on separate fields. So
they both had a practice.
Yeah. So to call this a joint practice compared to what you would normally see, I guess technically it was, but it was a dud in terms of the competition. And look, from the outset, it was always surprising they were going to go 2 days. You just don't see that a lot. I think the Eagles and Patriots did it in this camp, but you almost never see it. And, I think this is why, because from watching it today, I think both clubs probably would have been better served to just practice on their own today. Now, maybe they would dispute that. Maybe they view the 7-on-7 work that they got as invaluable, but it really wasn't much of a joint practice. They did like a joint period, but it wasn't Jags versus Bucs for, 2 hours like we saw yesterday, which, look, probably makes the most sense, but hard to get anything really out of today, I would say, and from a, who won, who lost, who looked good, because there just wasn't much to it in terms of two teams competing against each other.
Yeah, so with both teams out on the field. But we'll talk to the camp is over now. I do want to weigh in. I was going to do this yesterday, just never got to it. We're so busy. But I'll weigh in on the 53. I think that's what, and by the way, the new rule is because of a Wednesday game in Australia, the cut day is Sunday now.
Right.
It used to be
It's
Tuesday.
6 o'clock.
It used to be Tuesday at 4, I think it was. It was definitely Tuesday. I think 4 o'clock. Once upon a time, they broke it down into different days and different weeks, 85, then 65 or 55, whatever, or 53.
Yeah, for the kids out there, the NFL used to be played on Sundays.
Yeah, yeah. Well said. Now, cut down will be by 6 o'clock on Sunday. And again, there's very little some mystery, but very little mystery with the Jaguars. I would suggest, honest to goodness, if you corner James Gladstone right now, Hayes, I think he would probably tell you he has a pretty good idea of who 50 of his 53 are. Is that a good number?
I mean, I honestly think they know the team.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
yeah.
and
they may know the 53.
There could be something that comes out of Friday.
But I'm going to throw out two or three where I think there might be a roster battle. There's very few rotation battles left. There's I think, other than the Combs-Miller thing where they're going to split the position, there's no starting jobs left. It might be based on where they are today. So we'll talk a little bit about the significance of that. That's always a fun topic. We'll get to that coming up in a little bit as well. I want to talk about the quarterbacks. I said it's a little bit about Philo, but I want to develop further. What is Philo? What will he be? I want to ask the question, what is Ashton Daniels, who we're going to see in 4 days? What is he? I mean, we know he's a big athletic guy that's had some good and bad moments. He's got a lot of experience. And how will Darian Mensah plug right in? Will he plug right in the way Cam Ward and Carson Beck did? I mean, the evidence suggests he will. Obviously he was very good a year ago. 34 touchdowns and 6 picks for Duke. What do you think, JJ? Is he plugged right in? No, doesn't bat an eye, just go?
Yeah, I think Shannon Dawson is just like one of the best in the business.
So do I.
And I didn't watch a ton of Duke, but I do remember watching the Clemson game last year, and he was slinging it everywhere, man. So and with all of the talent on offense, the skill players, I expect this offense to be, if not as good as last year, maybe even better.
Yeah. So if
not as good as the Cam Ward year, because that was like historic, but somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. But I hear you. But the quarterback situation it is interesting that Florida State, and Miami will all be playing brand new quarterbacks. I mean, back in the day, that just wasn't how it was. You had your quarterbacks for a few years at least. I mean, they're all playing. I mean, Florida is playing a quarterback that last year was on the Georgia Tech roster. Miami's playing a quarterback that last year was on the Duke roster. And FSU's playing a quarterback that was at Auburn last year, Stanford.
It was Stanford and then Auburn.
It was Auburn last year. So they're all three playing a quarterback that were on a different roster. And Ashton Daniels, and I should know this, Jim, he wasn't Auburn's quarterback of record last year.
He had a few starts. I think he started 3 games.
Okay, so
one was the Iron Bowl, which he looked stat-wise pretty decent.
So he didn't play very much. Aaron Philo didn't play very much. He was the backup to Haynes King. Darian Mensah did. He was obviously a very good player now in his 3rd school. And by the way, if the new rules in place, Darian Mensah couldn't go to Miami because he was at Tulane and Duke. You can't go, so he wouldn't have had. So if the new rules in place, you wouldn't have him.
Well, and Ashton Daniels either.
And Ashton Daniels, very good call. So Ashton Daniels wouldn't be there either. So we got a lot of things to talk about today. So we'll get to that later on. But let's start with Sports and Courts. After the break, Brett Hastings joins us. Brett will be here by phone this time. He joins us. I want to ask him point blank, the comments by the Big Ten and the SEC, obviously litigation is coming. Will they stand up? I got a thought about that, but Brett's got the legal advice. That's how we'll kick off the program. Our Wednesdays are always brought to you by Coyle & Sons Fence Company. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
If you want to get away, check in mornings with a drill and stay all day.
We just checked in, and this is already the best vacation we've ever had.
1010XL. like a daily vacation for your mind.
Welcome to Key Buick GMC, proudly family-owned and operated since 1943. Come see why they're North Florida's new and pre-owned truck center, conveniently located on Southside and JTB, just minutes from the St. John's Town Center. At Key Buick GMC, every new vehicle comes with our lifetime powertrain warranty. Key Buick GMC, we are professional grade. Online at keybuickgmc.com. Lifetime powertrain warranty covers engine, transmission, drivetrain only. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
Hi, folks. I'm Frangie. I'm Jacksonville born and raised. I've lived here my whole life, so I don't hand out trust easily. But for the first time, I sat down with Chad and Sandy. Look, these are our people. You need to sell your house? Chad and Sandy have instant offers. Fast, easy, stress-free. You need a max price? Their science-based Market Max system is a proven, repeatable system guaranteed to sell your home for a maximum price. Ask Maureen. Her home on Pace Island in Fleming Island sat 158 days with another agent. Nothing. So she called Chad and Sandy, had showings day one, and by day two, sold for her full asking price, $449,000. Chad and Sandy are the local experts. I trust them, and I would recommend them if I was selling my home. Using their proprietary Market Max system, Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-on price or deadline, or they'll buy it. So call Chad and Sandy, the only agents I would trust if I was selling my home. 904-414-6200, or go to chadandsandy.com.
Real conversations with Farrah and Farrah clients. Here's Reggie.
Not only was being injured stressful, the first law firm that I hired made me feel even more stressful. And that was very concerning for me until I went with Farrah and Farrah.
How did that feeling change?
My attorney had the experience, and he had the respect, and the firm had the respect. And I think that made the difference in the resolution of my case. I can't think of a better decision that I made than Farrah and Farrah.
Results may vary. Jacksonville.
Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. But when it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Looking for an engagement ring that doesn't look like everyone else's?
Not every woman wants a cookie cutter ring that you find in every jewelry store around town.
Meet Ben Lupo, second-generation owner at Beard's Diamonds, who says a lot of couples come in today looking for something different, even a custom design ring. They come in with pictures or drawings, or sometimes they combine things they like from several rings into a one-of-a-kind creation.
And we can really kind of put all of those notes into one piece and show her her creation. If she likes it, we move forward. If not, we can change it however many times to make sure that we get it correct for her.
And here's the best part. Custom design rings at Beard's usually don't cost any extra.
You really have that ability to fully customize your ring without spending a ton of dollars, as opposed to just buying something right out of the case.
So don't settle for a chain store cookie cutter ring. Come to Beard's for all the top designer rings, and where you can also create that one-of-a-kind treasure.
You get the ability to customize your ring and put your stamp on it however you want.
Beard's Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center. Online at beardsdiamonds.com.
1010XL, presented by Farrah and Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farrah. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Now time for Sports and Courts, legal issues in the sports world with Brett Hastings from the Hastings Injury Law Firm. Hit back with Hastings.
All right, my buddy Brett Hastings does join us now in the story that won't ever end, but now it got a little juicier. College players, pro players trying to play college athletics. Frangie, Carline, and LaSelva with you. We bring in Brett Hastings from the Hastings Injury Law Firm. Brett, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great.
Yeah.
You know, I know angry guys had enough of these NIL-related lawsuits and everything else, but it keeps on coming.
But I will tell you this: I applaud the Big Ten, they started it. The SEC followed suit quickly. I haven't seen it yet, but I expect that Notre Dame, the ACC, the Big 12, the Sun Belt, all of them will follow suit. They have said if any player that is a pro player, meaning if he was on a pro roster, if he went to the draft and didn't pull himself out, if he signed a contract, practiced with the team, they're no longer welcome to play in the Big Ten. They're no longer welcome to play in the SEC. The Big Ten said it'll be a 50% suspension of the season for the coach. The SEC hasn't announced it yet, but Mark Schlabach is reporting that it's going to be the same thing. Brett, A, what do you make of that? And B, the big question, will that comment, those statements by those commissioners stand up in court?
So if it were just the Big Ten and the SEC, absolutely. Okay. I think that all of the conferences are going to be able to have the rulemaking authority to do this. Okay. Where it might get a little bit trickier is if every single major conference comes in line, right? Because what we've seen is where they have been able, right, to win on these lawsuits from the player side, that's whenever there's been sort of an antitrust component, right? At this point, the judges said, hey, the way the NCAA did this, there should be able to be, NCAA eligibility for these other players in the 22 class to have their fifth year, right? And then, we know about this Daquan Wright or what have you, and he's going to go and been at Ole Miss, and he's going to come to LSU. So we knew where this player was going and some of those things. Well, if the SEC and the Big Ten do it, but say the Big 12 doesn't do it, right, then it's really, really solid legal ground, because you can't say that you can't have an opportunity to go play somewhere in the Power Five, right? It just may not be where you wanted to go. So that's what's going to be interesting. I just sent you a thing. I don't even know if you had a chance to see it, but I guess FSU's quarterback from last year, right?
Yes.
Has signed, and now he wasn't he in an NFL camp?
Castellanos? I
don't think so.
I don't think he was.
Yeah.
He's one guy I don't think he was. Some of them were, but he was not. But back to your point, it'll be interesting to see if it holds up.
Yeah, and Brett, I kind of thought the same thing. If you're the SEC and the Big Ten, do you maybe allow the ACC to do this, and by allow, but I know that it's not up to them, but you probably want the Big 12 to take them, just to at least so these players do have a window to go earn money. I don't think anybody's going to care if Texas Tech takes these kids or BYU or whoever. Go ahead.
Go on. No, I think absolutely, Hayes. And here's the thing. Who have the two biggest reported, payers of players been, right? They've been Texas Tech and Miami, right? So, it sounds like the ACC is going to do the same thing. But if the ACC and the Big 12 don't, it's really strong legal footing, because the players can't say, I can't go and make the type of money I would, but for these conferences conspiring, right? Because what they have to argue on the other side is to say, everybody didn't like the judge's ruling, so they're just doing this to undermine the judge's ruling. And that's not really the case. Conferences still have the ability to have this rulemaking authority. But this isn't something that's going to drag out for the long term, because really this is going to be a one-year issue, right? For this specific issue, this is just created because the NCAA did say, hey, we're going to allow 5 and 5, but as to the 2022 class, we're not going to allow it. And so that's what's begun all of these individual lawsuits. But yeah, if I were the SEC and I were the Big Ten and the Big 12 decided to do it, I'd have no problem with it.
Yeah, I think the Big 12, ACC, Notre Dame are all going to come along. I think this is going to be everybody agreeing on this. Here's my take on this, too. The SEC has said, we will not allow you to do it, but in the Big Ten. But here's the caveat that I think protects them. You tell me if I'm right or wrong on this, Brett, that they're saying if you do it, here's the penalty, which means they can't. Right. Which means they can't legally stop you from doing it because the court said you could do it. But just so you know, if you do this, we're suspending you. Because they put the penalty in play. You see what I mean? Because they put the penalty in place, they're aware of the fact that legally these teams can do it. They're just saying, here's what happens to your coach if you do. I think that they're not saying we're going to have a policeman out there and a security guard running off, keeping the players off the field. What they're saying is,
right,
we're not allowing you out, but if you do it, which means because legally the courts say you can, but if you do it, here's the penalty. That's what I think protects them. Am I wrong about that?
No, absolutely. And there's still a lot of other arguments that they would bring that would protect them. They have rulemaking authority for a whole bunch of different reasons, right? They can protect the young men that are there, that are in camp, that believe they've made this roster, that have gone and done the hard work to get there. So they can have rulemaking authority to allow to keep that in place. I heard you get passionate the other day, Frank, and I think you were right. Are we gonna protect the 17-year-old kid who just showed up, and we're gonna let the 25-year-old or 24-year-old kid who just came out of the NFL training camp? The SEC, the Big Ten can obviously have rulemaking authority from a safety perspective. So I think the argument you were saying is yes. I think ultimately it would survive, as being upheld by the courts and to be a part of the rulemaking authority for each of the individual conferences. The only way I think maybe there could be a little bit of a better argument is if every single Power 5 conferences says no. But then what's kind of ironic is up to this point, okay, the injunctions have always been on what? The player side, right? So then if all the conferences do this, is somebody going to try to go get an injunction to say that the conferences can't do it? And if they go and defeat it or they can't get it in place, because it is a one-year issue, then for the first time, the time is going to be on the schools and the conferences side.
Brett, this is probably a hypothetical that isn't really going to be in play because these guys that are trying to go back to college are terrible NFL players and probably are not going to have much interest from the other 31 clubs. But I did think this was interesting. The NFL has informed its clubs that any player who does return to college will be prohibited from signing with an NFL team this season. So, again, let's just take Jack Pyburn as an example. If Pyburn gets cut by the Bucs, tries to go back to college for whatever reason, I don't know.
It doesn't work out.
It doesn't work out. He wants to try and go back to the NFL. He cannot do that. The NFL, it's really hard to have any sort of successful litigation against the NFL when it comes to what they want to do, correct?
Absolutely. And I mean, nobody's going to be nobody, especially on the NFL side, or anybody's going to be out there fighting to get Jack Pyburn back on their roster. I mean, I think is sort of the reality there. So, yeah. I don't see anything coming out of, any of those types of situations.
Yeah, final thing. I thought about this too, and I want to talk more about it. And I guess we're kind of all in agreement. But, there's football and basketball leagues, American football, American basketball leagues in Europe, right? But they have rules. You can only have so many American players. Because they can make rules for their league. They're not going to get sued because you're denying a guy a chance to work. Here in America, soccer leagues can only have so many foreign players, right? Some soccer leagues. Well, they're not going to get sued because you're denying a guy from Russia a chance to work. You can make rules, right, Brett, for your own league. You can make rules for your own league. Isn't this the same? That's why I think this is ironclad. The Darren Heitners of the world talk about how it's going to be challenged. I don't think so. I think you're allowed to make rules for your own league. So I'd be surprised if there's even much controversy going forward here.
Right. I mean, anything can be challenged. I don't believe that the challenges are going to be successful. Now, in fairness, Major League Baseball, the NFL, the NBA, those rules are collectively bargained.
Right. Good point.
So the Heitners of the world and the others go out and say, hey, we're not a part of the agreement to these rules. So that would be the basis of their challenges. But in this limited subset, I think it's kind of a winner argument, for the SEC, for the Big Ten, and obviously, there's a little bit of, trying this one in the court of public opinion, because I think the Greg Sankeys of the world and the average sports fan and the angry host and everybody else wants there to be some knowns in college football. And this is at least them trying to say, we're going to take a little bit of the power back. The member institutions of the SEC, the member institutions of the Big Ten don't believe this is in the best interest of the game or the players, these student athletes, and so this is what we're going to do. And so, that's a real positive. Just looking at it from a legal standpoint, they clearly do, though, even though that's not collectively bargained, have the ability to have rulemaking authority, determining eligibility within the league, those types of things. So I think this is something they can very fairly say. And I think, if there are challenges from the Darren Heitners of the world or what have you, what the SEC and everybody else is really going to be pointing on is like, look, this is all happening the week of week 0, right? 2 weeks before the season starts. Rosters, young men need to be able to, at least in the football context, need to know who the roster is, who's going forward, and just from sort of a safety concern that none of that's in anybody's best interest. So I think those things actually would be some of the stronger arguments once you would get in, to the litigation and the challenges. And, again, these are private entities, right? They might have public universities that are part of it, but as a general rule, unless you are trying to discriminate against somebody of a protected class, gender, age, race, any of those types of things, as long as the rulemaking authority appears to be, effectuated in the best interest of the member institutions and the players, it's going to be upheld.
Brett Hastings from the Hastings Injury Law Firm, Sports and Courts, a good one today. Brett, thanks, buddy. We appreciate it.
You got it.
All right, Brett Hastings talking Sports Hour. Let's stay here for a second on this one. I am very confident this one holds up.
Yeah.
Because, number one, the conferences can make their own rules. Number two, they are in concert on this. And unlike the amount of playoffs, if the Big Ten and SEC had together said 16 or 24, we'd have that by now. But we know that. This is one they have agreed on. I think this holds up. Something we said yesterday that does make some sense. I do feel for the guys, the players, who would not have come out if they'd have known they had a fifth year, but did come out and now can't go back because of the pro thing. And I do, and common sense says they got a raw deal on this. But sometimes that's just how it is. Sometimes they're not the first players in the history of sports to ever get a raw deal because of when a rule changed. That's just how it is. And I feel for the Jack Pibers and the Daquan Wrights and the guys who got caught up in this. But I think at the end of the day, do all you can to make your NFL team, because I don't think you're playing college sports again.
Well, and again, they did at least get to take advantage of the new climate. I mean, if you looked at, top salaries ever in the history of college football, Jack Piber and Daquan Wright, they'd probably be very high on that list.
Great point.
Because they were able to at least have 1 or 2 years where players were getting legally paid, and, they were able to cash in. So they at least, have some degree of a nest egg to start, you would imagine. It's ironic because it works out better for a player like Tommy Castellanos, who the NFL had no interest in because obviously he's incredibly small. So for somebody that got not even the cup of coffee, now the person that didn't even get the cup of coffee can go back, and Castellanos is committed to Texas Tech today, so he's going to play for Texas Tech. And so it worked out for the guys that were like completely off the NFL radar, but for the guys that did sign as an undrafted free agent, they were just good enough to get doomed by this.
Final thought on this. It almost seems like, because the pro guys became the guys that tested the waters with pro teams became the real villains here, that even though the NCAA is appealing it, it does look like the class of 22 5-for-5 guys are going to be able to play. And now, I mean, it starts this week. So, I mean, they play this week. So it does look like the 5-for-5 guys that didn't go to a pro camp and weren't drafted and all that, the Tommy Castellanoses of the world, the Denzel Aberdeens of the world, are going to be able to play. So, again, the NCAA could get a last minute, but I would think by now, if that was going, don't you think, if that was going to get blocked, it would have been blocked by now, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so it looks like that the players, the 5 to play 5 guys from the class of 22, not the ones that went to pro camp,
right,
but looks like
there's certainly no panic coming out of the Gator basketball program that all of a sudden they're not going to have Denzel Aberdeen.
And even the football programs who are playing now, you don't see anybody. Florida's got time to seek another injunction or seek an injunction because they don't play basketball till November. Football plays next week. So you would think if there was going to be any momentum toward banning these people who are practicing with their teams right now, you would think by now we would have heard something. And so that one would have to come out of nowhere is kind of the point. So we'll see what winds up happening. Interesting stuff. Let's take a break. When we come back, let's talk some Jaguars football. Jordan Lewis, one of the veteran members of the defensive secondary, a guy that's missed some time in camp. They've held him out some. Looks like he's back now. What does he expect from this team? Hayes caught up with Jordan. We'll do that and more after this. So stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Streaming live from the XL Digital Studios. Polished by Harbor Dental Care, the locally owned smile restoration experts.
Hey, it's Brent with Arcosa Crushed Concrete. If you've got concrete or asphalt rubble on your site, let me buy it from you, and I will recycle it into construction material for your future projects. Arcosa Crushed Concrete. Get paid for what you don't need.
Your AC's broke, it ain't no joke. Call Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. FloridaHomeAC.com.
Hi, Frank Frangie here, inviting you to join my wife and me June 22nd of 2027 as we experience the food, wine, and culture of iconic Italy with Colette. Our journey takes us to historic cities and enchanting medieval towns. We'll enjoy a wonderful 7-night stay in the Montecatini Term A famous resort and spa town nestled in the heart of the rolling hills of Tuscany. Visit the cultural treasures of Florence, Pisa, and lovely Lucca. Along the way, we'll discover the food, wine, and old world charm, and even have a special chef-led cooking class. This and so much more. Colette handles the details, flights, hotels, meals, and the local experiences. Your only job is to have the time of your life. Don't miss joining my wife and me in Italy. Now, to learn more, visit 1010XL.com or call Colette at 800-581-8942.
Come away with me.
That's 1010XL.com or call Colette at 800-581-8942.
I'm Holt Harrell with Harrell & Harrell. Choosing a law firm after an accident is an important decision. With so many messages, we know it can all sound the same. At Harrell & Harrell, we believe what sets us apart is our commitment to you. We'll help you find doctors to get you better, and we'll work hard to maximize any recovery. Visit our website and look at our reviews to see how we've helped people just like you make this important decision. Harrell & Harrell. Offices, Jacksonville.
Frank Frangie here. I've been telling you about Stanley Pools for years. But you know my favorite thing about this family-owned company? They take such good care of my pool. All I have to do is relax and enjoy it. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and their weekly maintenance makes owning a pool effortless. You can trust Stanley Pools to build your pool or upgrade it. They've done both for me. Call 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
You are not looking for just another job. You are looking for what's next. At Miller Electric, you'll work on projects that shape communities, learn from some of the best in the industry, and build a career with a company that's been trusted for nearly 100 years. With competitive pay, outstanding benefits, ongoing training, and a culture that puts people first, Miller Electric is the place where careers grow. Take the next step at MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. We count football in weeks. Week 1, the bye, midseason. 10 weeks doesn't sound like much until you ask what can change in 10 weeks. That's the idea behind Reclaim by Awaken 180, a defined 10-week program with a clear beginning and a real finish line. I know what that window means. I lost 40 pounds in 10 weeks with Awaken 180, but the scale wasn't the only number that mattered. My body fat percentage came down without a meaningful drop in muscle mass because losing weight should mean losing fat, not simply chasing a smaller number. Think about this. The Jaguars season is almost here. When it reaches midseason, you can still be thinking about changing, or you can have 10 weeks behind you. That's why now makes sense. The season will move fast, and my results did too. Go to awaken180weightloss.com and ask about Reclaim. Find out how 10 weeks work, what the program involves, and whether it fits your goal. Go to awaken180weightloss.com and ask about Reclaim. Week 1 is coming either way. 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
All my friends, never low rider.
back to a Coyle and Sons Wednesday. Since 1927, they've been around the block and probably fenced it too.
We sure appreciate our friends from Coyle and Sons are putting up a big net behind the goalpost at Nimnik Stadium at the Fort Family Baseball, or the Fort Family Regional Park. It also includes the Bregan Baseball Complex. A lot of stuff going on there. Every time we need something, a batter's eye behind center field or a net to catch the field goals and keep them out of the water. Our friends from Coyle and Sons do it. They really can do anything. Head to Coyle and Sons if you want. Call Coyle and Sons if you have any needs for fencing. 904-356-4821. It is time now for the big thing of the day. The big thing of the day is always brought to you by Big Chief Tire. You can find out all about them at BigChiefTire.com. Tires, oil changes, brakes, alignments, they do it all. West Side, South Side, Blanding, North Side, Mandarin, Orange Park. I'm telling you, they're near you no matter where you are. They've done it since 1961. The best tire company in town is Big Chief Tire. Tell you right now, there's a ball game on Friday night. I'm not delaying this. I'm not beating around the bush. JJ, other hosts beat around the bush. Not me. Not here. Not today.
I've always said that.
What's in the pouch? What do you got?
A pair of tickets, Jags Bucs, like you said, last preseason game, Friday night, the 28th at 7:30. So be car number 4 right now, and I'll hook you up with a pair of tickets.
We're sending you
641-1010.
We're sending you to the ball game. You're also going to hear from a important Jaguar player. Tell me about where Jordan Lewis's head is, because they've had to hold him out some. There's so much attention, all these young defensive backs. Antonio Johnson prominent among them. Travis Hunter about to play cornerback. Monteric Brown got paid to play corner. But here's the savvy veteran. He looks like, boy, he is jumping around. To me, you got to talk to him. He's chomping a bit, ready to go.
Yeah, I think Jordan Lewis is very cognizant of how good this team could be, and coming off, obviously, a 13-win campaign last year. And yeah, he's seen a thing or two in this league. He was a third-round pick back in 2017, so he turns 31 actually later this month, August 31st. So happy early 31st to Jordan Lewis. But I thought he was outstanding last year. I mean, he was a guy really from the outset of the year when the Jaguars were surprising us with how good they were early. Jordan Lewis, I thought, was a big reason for that. Too. And unfortunately, he got hurt towards the end of the year. They didn't have him in the playoff loss to the Bills, but he is absolutely a difference maker. And yeah, you love the mix. You've got Lewis and Murray are sort of the veterans on the back end. Then you've got Travis Hunter, Buster Brown, Jarian Jones that are very exciting players that obviously have yet to hit the peak of their career.
Nickel corner Jordan Lewis, the subject of this Hayes Carlyon one-on-one.
Now, Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors takes you in the locker room.
We're pleased to be joined with Jaguars cornerback Jordan Lewis here on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Man, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate you guys for having me.
Everybody good? Family good?
Absolutely. Yeah, excited to be back. Getting ready for the season, prepping up, so I'm excited.
That's awesome. Jordan, obviously the heavy lifting is sort of over now with the joint practice all in the books. How do you assess this team now as you get closer to looking at week 1 with Cleveland?
Yeah, man, we're just getting closer. Honestly, that's all it's about. Just getting closer, getting 1% better, being able to prepare how we want to prepare to get to Cleveland. I think we're getting our play style right, and I think we're heading to the right direction. And I'm excited to see what we do these last few weeks of preparation.
The secondary really seems like it's taken a massive step forward this offseason. How do you think you guys have done as a group?
Man, honestly, I think we did really good last year. I just think nobody really anticipated, the type of impact we have on the game, and now people are anticipating, what we'll be doing. But those guys always had that talent, honestly. We're just getting closer, and I think that's the biggest thing. We're just getting closer as a group, understanding how we can play together and make more plays on the ball and make this team better. But I'm excited, man, because those guys have the ability to do, anything on the field, and I think that's what we're going to see, going forward. A lot of us playing and a lot of us getting some good time together and to mesh and make plays, how we've been doing, last year.
It seems like whether it's Liam or Campanile or players, Matt Araujo has really made a huge difference. Absolutely. Jordan, what's it been like learning from him, and what kind of a coach is he?
Man, it's amazing because everything is about getting back to the ball. The techniques is getting us closer to making plays, and we already had a lot of playmakers, but what those details are going to make those more consistent, on a week-to-week basis. And I love what he's coaching. I love the person that he is. He's really personable. He wants to create a relationship with us, and then he gets on us. So we know it's all in love, but we love him. We love him. We love the way he coaches us. We love the way he prepares and, gives us the techniques to go out there and dominate each time we're out there.
How happy are you with your game right now?
I'm excited, man. Like I said, Coach Rougeau, he's been teaching us, different tricks of the trade to get closer to the ball and being more comfortable in, some of our coverages. I feel really good, man. I'm getting healthy. Just trying to go out there and mesh together, and it's the main thing because I know we got guys that can go out there and take the ball away. We just got to make sure it's on the same, accord.
When do you start as a veteran? When do you start kind of peaking at Cleveland a little bit on your own?
Starting now. Okay. It's about campus wrapped up pretty much. The long haul of campus, is behind us. Now we want to prepare for, what you're going to see on week 1. Getting your body right, mentally preparing what you're going to see on Sunday, and making sure that we can go out there and execute our best.
You mentioned you guys did a wonderful job. Turnovers last year, 4th and 31. Boy, that's carried over. We've seen you, Monteric, Antonio, Travis, everybody making plays. How cool has that been to see, and what kind of steps have these young guys made?
They know that's the expectation. That's the standard. We get the ball back. That's our calling card, and that's what we want to hang our hats on. I mean, it wasn't a coincidence that we got it, and it wasn't just a fluke that we're doing that. I've been a part of good defenses, man, that go get the ball back, and I've seen it, and we have the talent to do that, and I think we have the cohesion to make sure that we play really good ball on the back end too, not just getting turnovers and letting the ball go over our head. I think we really sound too, and we're gonna be really good in coverages as well as taking the ball away.
Jordan, what strides have you seen out of Travis Hunter at corner?
It's just the consistency, going out there, getting more reps on defense, understanding how we want to play defense, understanding, what the safeties expect of them, and understanding, how we're going to play different coverages. It's just, getting the reps in it, seeing different formations from a defensive standpoint. I think that's really what it is because, he's a hell of an athlete, man. He has the mind for it. It's just getting those reps, time on task when he's going out there and seeing it.
Jordan Lewis, thanks so much for your time. Best of luck to you this season.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I appreciate Jordan's time. I tell you, it's been one of the big themes throughout camp. I mean, this new defensive pass game coordinator, Matthew Rougeau.
Right.
I mean,
highly regarded.
He might be a star in the making. O'Halloran thinks he's going to be the next defensive coordinator here. That's how highly he thinks of him. And, assuming Anthony Campanile moves on and gets a head coaching job, which certainly he's, I would think, going to have a good opportunity to do so if the defense has a second consecutive strong year under his guidance. But Araujo's a guy that, boy, whether it's Liam, Campanile, the players,
highly thought of.
Really, seems like he's made a big difference.
People have raved about him, and people have raved about kind of what the camp. So, final thought: camp ended today. It was a good camp.
Yeah,
it was a very good camp. It was a successful camp. No big injuries. Patrick McCary down for a while, but I think he was hobbling anyway.
He was ailing coming in.
Yeah, so I think it was a good camp. Played well in these joint practices. I think that matters. So it's been a good. Again, there's work to be done. There's a game Friday night, and then there's 2 more weeks before they play a game that matters. But a good camp overall. We'll take a break. We've got headlines after this. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
The kings of the swamp.
Ball's loose at the 38. Gators got it. Wow.
This is Gators head football coach John Summerall. Join Sean Kelly and our broadcast crew as they bring you Gators football all season long.
On Jacksonville's home of Florida Gators football, 1010 XL.
Tired of changing out bad sod year after year? Get it done right with Roundtree Sod. Big or small, they have it, and always supplied farm fresh. For a lush, legendary green lawn, call 7414-SOD for a free estimate. 7414-SOD.
Ace Carline here for Atlantic Infinity, and yes, I'm still loving my new QX60. Right now, you can lease one or lock in just 1.9% financing for 60 months, and every new Infinity comes with the Atlantic Infinity Promise. That's over $7,000 in added value. That's one of many reasons why I bought mine there. No pressure, no games, just a great experience. Make your next ride an Infinity from Atlantic Infinity. Visit AtlanticInfinity.com or the showroom near Atlantic and St. John's Bluff.
It's like grabbing a seat around Jacksonville's Friday night campfire.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, Friday Night Lights.
With Hacker and Brent Osborne.
Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning on 1010XL.
Hey folks, it's Frank Frangie. If you spend even one summer in Jacksonville, you know how important your vehicle's air conditioning is. Right now, Big Chief Tire is offering $50 off AC services to keep you cool on the road. They'll keep you cool all summer long with honest service and fair pricing. Don't wait until you're driving with the windows down in August. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com and schedule your appointment today. Big Chief Tire. Service you can trust.
I'm Chris Campione. Auto accidents can leave you feeling lost and overwhelmed. But at Campione Law, we're here to guide you with a personal touch through every step of the process. We don't get paid unless you get paid. CampioneLaw.com.
Campione Law. Storm season is here, and at JEA, we're on it. We work year-round to strengthen our electric, water, and sewer systems, making them more storm-resistant. Trees are trimmed around power lines to help reduce outages caused by falling debris. Plus, our online outage map and the MyJEA app make it easier than ever to report and monitor outages. So no matter what this storm season brings, we're ready to respond, restore, and keep you informed every step of the way. Learn more and see how you can prepare at JEA.com.
The investment landscape always changing. New rules, new regulations, new opportunities. But at ITP Partners, one thing stays constant, our commitment to your financial future. ITP Partners Jeff Hartman, Chris Bryant, Janice Cobb, Dan Abel, Reagan Wright, and Reed Wingate. Your personalized investment strategy built on trust, transparency, and experience. They're ITP Partners. They're my financial partners for life. Registered representatives offering securities offered through Cetera Wealth Services, LLC, member FINRA SIPC, and advisory services offered through Blue Horizon Equity.
Call a timeout for the new Smoke and Honey Melts at Firehouse Subs. Choose flame-seared shaved steak or grilled chicken breast, peppers, caramelized onions, melted provolone, chipotle, honey dressing, and mayo. All on a toasted sub roll, only at Firehouse Subs.
For every special occasion, Kuhn Flowers can deliver a beautiful floral arrangement with a click, a call, or a visit to one of their beautiful showrooms. This is ET, and when you need to show someone you love them, remember, think Kuhn Flowers.
Jacksonville's been wonderful to Beards and my family.
Meet John and Ben Lupo, first and second generation owners at Beards Diamonds.
We're always looking to make the shopping experience better for the consumer and grow with Jacksonville.
We're here to do whatever we can to make people happy. We want them to feel comfortable with their purchase.
Beards Diamonds, not another corporate chain jewelry store. A Jacksonville original with non-commissioned experts to guide you, educate you, and help you celebrate those milestones.
We get to be with people in the most important decisions in their life. So it's a wonderful feeling at the end of the day.
So if you're getting engaged, celebrating a special anniversary, or looking for that perfect gift, relax and enjoy the experience at Beards, knowing you are guaranteed the best price, the best value, the best warranties, and the best experience in the jewelry industry.
There's no competition that we can't compete with or beat.
Beards Diamonds, happy to be here for 45 years and counting. In the St. John's Town Center and online at beardsdiamonds.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round. It's Hayes' Headlines, presented by Harrell and Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hayes Carline.
Welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie is here, as is JJ La Silva. I am Hayes Carline. Thank you to our friends at Harrell and Harrell. Give them a call at 251-1111. They will take great care of you. Frank, let's start with the Jaguars. Training camp in the books as the Jaguars wrap up camp with a light joint practice with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Not a lot to gather from today's workout, but they did do some 7-on-7 against each other.
Yeah, I think today's more about the looking at camp in totality. A good camp, healthy camp. Some of the new players, rookies predominantly, really showed out. The two receivers among them. Yeah, I like where they are. I like where the football. I think they have a good football team. In the next hour, I'm going to talk a little bit about the 53 and my thoughts on that. But for the most part, I think we know who their football team is. I think they know who their football team is, and I think they like their team. I think it was a good camp. They did it about the right way. They were able to do a lot of joints. They didn't like the fact that they couldn't do many last year. The NFL allows you to do 4, and they did all 4. I like where they are. I think they like where they are.
Offensive coordinator Grant Udisky met with reporters after practice today and talked about the development of running backs Bashal Tutin and Chris Rodriguez.
Certainly long awaited with the spring. We didn't get to see those guys working together. So to actually see them in live action, really between this joint practice and the Carolina joint practice, kind of see both those guys hit their stride with some of the different run concepts we've been trying to hit and some of the different reads we've been developing, and really see those guys be able to go out and play fast, finally hit their groove and not have to go out there and think about who am I reading, what am I looking at, and just go out there and play free. So that's been the most exciting part about seeing those guys reach that level of progression. Like I said with the offensive line, that progression's never done, but it's nice to kind of hit that threshold and see the glimpses of their hard work, their studying in the meeting rooms, their work in the indoor and the walkthrough room, see that materialize.
I like where they are with their running backs. Don't sleep on Chris Rodriguez. Chris Rodriguez, he might start the games. I mean, either he or Bashil Tootin are running back one, and they're both going to play a lot, so I guess it doesn't necessarily matter who goes out there first when Cleveland comes to town. But I think there's something special with him. I really believe that.
Trevor Lawrence met with reporters as well after practice today. And to your point about camp basically being over, Trevor reflected on camp as a whole.
Yeah, I feel like individually definitely got better every day. I feel like I found a little bit of a groove the last week or so. Like I said, every day wasn't my best, and it can be frustrating because you want the result. But just taking a step back and using it, that's what we talk about in our room all the time, is the practice is only as good as what you learn from it, whether it's good or bad. So I think that's something that we focused on this year. And it's like, hey, there's a handful of bad plays out there that I need to learn from and get better from. But as long as I do that and move forward, we're going to be fine. I know I'm going to make a bunch of plays too. So I think just continuing to be detailed, I think taking completions, all those things, something I wanted to work on. I think I did a better job of it over the last week or so, creating off schedule and being smart with the football. All those things are things that I do well, but I also need to work on. So that was a big point of emphasis that I think I got better at.
I thought it was a good camp for him, and I thought it was a good camp for the Jaguars. I think we've all said we kind of know who they are offensively and have a chance to be really good offensively, and with him leading the charge, obviously.
He really didn't throw a lot of picks at all this camp when you think about it. I mean, I didn't see the New Orleans, but we probably ended up seeing 20 of them, here. I mean,
20 practices, Joe.
He might have thrown 4.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, it was not often that it happened. He was very decisive and making good decisions.
And listen, this is a guy that was in the top 5 in most valuable player voting in the National Football League last year. Given that alone, he comes into the season expected to be one of the better players in the league. When you're in the top 5 in MVP voting, you're probably one of the better players in the league, and nothing we've seen dissuades me from thinking that. So, yeah, I think he's at a good place.
Brian Thomas Jr. back at practice today, was in a non-contact jersey, so whatever shoulder ailment. Liam Cohen said he was fine yesterday, but still good to see BTJ out there running around a little bit just with the non-contact jersey.
Yeah, my guess is if there'd have been a game, he'd have played today. And my guess is if other than Patrick McCary and maybe Cole Van Lannon, because he's still coming back, and with Van Lannon, it's not, in my opinion, it's not about the injury anymore. It's just about getting in game shape. But, yeah, I think for the most part, they'd have them all.
Let's get to around the NFL. Texans right tackle Braden Smith carted out of practice today with a foot injury, so we will certainly monitor that situation.
The Texans have had a goofy line situation for a while now. Ever since the Laramie Tunsil thing didn't really work for them for a myriad of reasons. Every time they lose a guy, it's a big deal, or every time something goes wrong, and we'll see. Again, Texans, great defense. We'll see about the offense.
We talked about this yesterday, but Bengals receiver Jamar Chase is fine after a knee scare in yesterday's practice.
I told you, knees always scare you, and it's always good news when it's not bad news, right? I mean, it's always good news when you can exhale a little bit that it's not what a knee could be.
Colts receiver Alex Pierce is closing in on a return to practice. He has been out since having ankle surgery this offseason. So, again, it's getting kind of dicey. To be ready for week 1, you kind of have to start getting out there and doing things, so that's good for Indianapolis.
And he's a huge part of their offense. He's a speed merchant. Lord knows we saw it here, the Flacco game, when he's running behind people all day long. He can really run now. I mean, he can really run. And so Alec Pierce, they paid him there's a reason they paid him. There's a reason they didn't care that Pittman walked. There's a reason they didn't really work hard in building the position, because they think they've got a star in Alec Pierce. So that's a big one for the Colts.
In college football, the SEC has joined the Big Ten in banning former NFL players from returning to college.
Yeah, well, we've talked about it a little bit already. We'll talk more about it as we go. It's one that'll stand up in court, I believe. I think at some point the establishment had to fight back. And the Big Ten and SEC making these statements said, enough's enough. We can lose this lawsuit and that lawsuit, and guys can wind up playing on 4 different teams if they want. But we're damn sure not having players go to NFL practices, work out in NFL weight rooms, be coached by NFL coaches, compete against NFL players, and then show up back and play in our college ranks. This was the establishment, saying enough's enough, and good for them.
Former Florida State quarterback Tommy Castellanos is transferring to Texas Tech.
Yeah, I think the 5 for 5 guys are all going to be able to play. Good for Castellanos, by the way. He's going to be the backup quarterback there. But I'll bet you see him because he worked hard to do this. He got paid if he went to Texas Tech. I'll bet you see he's the backup quarterback. Is it Will Hammond the starter? I think the backup quarterback. But whoever he backs up, I think you're going to see him as the backup quarterback in the Wildcat some, as a slot receiver some. Keep an eye on that. I don't think Castellanos is just a clipboard holder for when the quarterback gets hurt. I don't think he'd have gone to Lubbock for that.
Right.
He also knows he's probably not the starter.
Yeah,
so
it'll be like a slash role.
I think you'll see that with him in Lubbock.
Let's get to the PGA Tour. The Tour Championship tee times are out. Scotty Scheffler playing with Matt Fitzpatrick at 2 o'clock tomorrow. Rory McIlroy playing with Xander Schauffele at 12:54.
Are we having a loser Monday today?
Ooh, that's right.
This is
last one of the year.
Well,
not last one of the year.
Well, the next to last.
The
last one's the home runs in the World Series. There's 10. There's 10 total, and this is number 9.
Wow.
So this is and we got a good battle going on. Look, that loser hat's anybody's to wear yet. And with 2 left, it'd be harder for you to wear it. You're one less loss than JJ and me.
But you never know.
Yeah, I've lost 3. But
and the last
top
event,
10 golfers who both all 3 got me beat. Not that I'm whining about it still, but anyway, just wanted to point that out.
The last event will be my weakness, so hopefully I can be safe this week. But we will see. That draft coming up in about 30 minutes. Let's get to Major League Baseball. The Braves beat the Dodgers 4-3. Atlanta now up 4.5 games on Philadelphia in the NL East.
Unfortunately, the Phillies are up 6-0 in the second inning right now. But yeah, it was huge win for the Braves last night, obviously. They had Ohtani on third with no outs in the 9th. Down a run, and Raisel Iglesias was able to come through and hold the save. So yeah, absolutely massive win for the Braves. They got to follow it up, though. You got to win at least one more of these to win the series. I think they could do it.
I turned it on last night. It's Elder and Glasnow. I thought there might be. It's 3-2 in like the first or the second.
Both teams were terrible to start. Glasnow was first start back for like back tightness or something, but he got into the groove of things. And just the Dodgers, man, they're so freaking good. Like, you look up and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot that they have Mookie Betts, who's batting like 240. But he's still Mookie Betts.
Kyle Tucker's terrible.
And he's getting booed. I knew that was a bad deal.
How did he become okay, I get it. It was a bad deal. How did he become terrible?
A lot of people have said that he doesn't love the game. And so, like, once he got paid, they kind of saw this coming. I don't know if that's true.
Well, he's got that in common with the fans because they don't love watching him play the game.
No, they don't.
He's been terrible.
Wow.
I mean, he really got paid.
$60 million a year.
$60 million, and he's been a terrible player.
Wow. That's crazy.
That's a shame for the Dodgers.
That really is.
Poor Dodgers.
Yeah.
I feel bad.
Yeah, how about this will brighten your spirits? So Pirates ace Paul Skeens looked like himself again last night, throwing 6 shutout innings in Pittsburgh's 1-0 win over San Diego. Skeens allowed 3 hits, but the velocity was back up where it's supposed to be. Did you see a difference?
Yeah, well, let me tell you what happened. The overthinking analytical thing. People said after last year that he's going to be the best pitcher of all time, blah, 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 blah. But he's got to make some mechanical changes so his arm doesn't blow out.
Yeah.
So he makes these mechanical changes and sucks. So last night, and I've watched
the way it was.
He did. I've watched him enough to know that funky way he turns, that kind of 3/4 thing
and
he does.
His arm, his arm. Yeah. It's hard to explain on TV without actually showing.
But the arm angle went back to
on the radio.
It went back to the way it was, and they couldn't touch him. Imagine that. His ERA, his first 2 years in the big leagues, was 1.97, 1.98. So let's change everything. But he looked like him. And by the way, Cruz hit a big home run to win it at the end. First home run. Do you see this? Mason Miller had not allowed a home run in a year.
Wow.
Mason Miller had not allowed a home run. He throws 104. He had not allowed a home run in 1 year, and Cruz got him in the 9th to win.
It's just like Pittsburgh to finally get a good start from Skeens and not score the whole game.
If your team's no good, and your team's terrible, and your team's awful, and you stay up and watch a 1-0 game that started at 9:40, are you pathetic? Is that pathetic?
I think you deserve a medal for that.
Okay, just wondering.
Yeah, great fan. We'll get you out as we celebrate an important anniversary this week. 50 years ago, Boston's debut album, released in 1976. The album sold 17 million copies in the U.S. alone and is considered one of the greatest debut albums in rock history. Happy 50th anniversary. This is More Than a Feeling.
It is the greatest debut album ever. And honest to God, to me, it's a top 5, top 7 album. I mean, obviously Rumors, and obviously Hotel California, and obviously 3 or 4 of the Beatles albums. I get it. But honest to God, it's in the conversation. It sounds crazy, but it's in the conversation. It's that good an album. Well done as always.
Thank you.
Hour 2 is next. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Nimnick Chevrolet is Northeast Florida's truck headquarters. Now this month, you ready for this? Save more than $15,000 on a brand new Silverado at Nimnick Chevrolet. And 0% financing for 60 months is now available. Plus, no payments for 90 days. They've got great selection of new Chevrolets. So many, more than anybody in the region. And always you get that Nimnick best price guarantee. I've told you this before. I've been shopping at Nimnick since 1982. I had never bought a car by myself. I went to Nimnick Chevrolet. Well, I've been doing it ever since. My friend Billy Nimnick Jr. helped me buy a car, God rest his soul. And Billy Nimnick III now, who runs the joint, still takes care of everybody the way they've always taken care of me. You get great prices, the lowest interest rates. They really take care of you, an incredible inventory to choose from. Why go anywhere else? Head to Nimnick Chevrolet on Cassadet Park right now. Great prices, great interest rates. Who takes really, really, really good care of you when you want to buy a car or truck? Well, that's easy. Nobody but Nimnick.
The night is darkest just before the dawn. And I promise you, the dawn is coming.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser, your Dawn Rangers. Mornings on 1010XL.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
David Garrard here, and once again, I'm reporting good news about how good my knees are doing following PRP treatment at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. For an old quarterback like me, my knees are in great shape.
You don't have to be a celebrity or a professional athlete to appreciate the everyday personal attention you'll receive at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. For any orthopedic need, call on the pros at SOS.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
If it's a big deal for the Orange and Blue, it's on the Gator Report.
I'm Kyle Markowitz. Get your chomp of Swamp News several times a week on 1010XL.
Installed by Cash Building Material.
Custom shower doors, mirrors, railings, any specialty glass solutions. At Capital Glass and Shower Doors, they can also replace foggy or damaged glass. You don't have to change the whole window. Contact Capital Glass and Shower Doors, and they replace the glass at a fraction of the cost of replacing the entire window. You'll get a new look and a clear view without the hassle. Stop by their brand new showroom in St. Augustine, right off of 16 by the Outlet Mall, or visit capcoglass.com. CAPCO glass.com.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Today's restaurant of the day is Flame Broiler, the Rice Bowl King. For a limited time, enjoy marinated, tender, boneless short ribs in the Lee family authentic Korean kalbi recipe, served on a bowl or plate. Only available for a limited time in store or on the Flame Broiler app.
Hey, I'm Matt Lennon with AB Signs. If you own a business but your vehicle, your storefront, or job sites aren't promoting that name, who's getting your next customer? At AB Signs, we'll help your business stand out with custom vehicle graphics, signs, banners, and decals. Whether you're starting new or upgrading your image, we'll make sure your business gets noticed. Before you order from an online merchant, call local. Call Matt at AB Signs, and let's put your business to work.
25 weeks comes down to this. You ready? 3 wide under the lights. 0 margin for error. Everything on the line. Flirting with 200 miles per hour in the place where this journey began. Race 26, the final hunt for a spot in the chase. The Coke Zero Sugar 400 weekend at Daytona, August 28th through 29th. Get your tickets now at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Summer's winding down, and we know you want to enjoy what's left of it. But before you celebrate this Labor Day weekend, plan ahead and know all your options. If you drink, don't get behind the wheel. Instead, designate a sober driver or catch a ride service. And if you are the designated sober driver, commit to staying sober. Celebrate responsibly and remember to drive sober or get pulled over. This message brought to you by the Florida Department of Transportation.
I'm Jared Justice with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update brought to you by Southern Oak Insurance. Florida is the #1 team in college basketball heading into the 2026 season based on a new CBS coaches poll with over 100 Division I coaches. The Gators received 55% of the first place votes. The Gators will play Baylor in an exhibition game right here in Jacksonville on October 18th. Gator running back Jaden Ball was listed as the 18th best college football player in the country by ESPN. Florida State wideout Deuce Robinson placed 59th. And a reminder that tickets for all the games at Everbank this season are available at Jaguars.com. It's 90 degrees at 5 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. 10-10-10-10.
Take.
The 10-10 Take is brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter, plumbing, septic, and air conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. That's duckduckrooter.com. I'll say this, as this college thing finally starts to make a little sense, maybe. There's a little semblance of normalcy happening here. I want to tip a cap to an odd group, Hayes, or one you wouldn't expect me to tip a cap to. I'm going to tip my cap to the Big 12, all right? The Big 12. Because when the Brendan Sorsby stuff started happening, it was the Big 12 that was the first chapter of the Establishment Fights Back book. Because they said enough is enough. We're not doing this. We're not having Brendan Sorsby after all the gambling stuff play. So they filed a federal lawsuit. Their own conference did against Texas Tech or to keep Brendan Sorsby from playing. Tech backed down because the whole league was against them. And it was the first strike of the establishment saying enough is enough. I thought the Big Ten and the SEC followed suit. And Tom Mars just wrote it, and I agree with him. He's a lawyer. He knows a little bit more than I do. But the minute LSU pushes back on this, the SEC will file a federal lawsuit similar to the one the Big 12 filed, and they will win. So finally, after lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit, has resulted in players almost a gambling player played, players playing beyond their eligibility, guys going to 4 and 5 schools in 4 and 5 years. At long last, the establishment is fighting back. We're not out of the woods yet, but I think I'm now confident guys that play pro sports will not be able to come back and play college, even guys that are on a pro roster. I'm confident we've won that one. The establishment's won that one. I am confident that the 5 to play 5, we've won that one. I am confident that the one-time transfer with impunity, we've won that one. Look, I sound like an old get off my lawn guy. I don't mean to. I care about these kids. I'm not saying I want them to get a bad deal out of it, but at some point, enough's enough. It starts with the Big 12. The establishment fought back and won then. I think the Big Ten and the SEC, the establishment is fighting back and winning this one. And for all that, I say good, and that's the 10-10 take.
Yeah, I think it's well said. Do you think the Big Ten and SEC working, maybe not in conjunction, but certainly almost being on the same side of this, does that give you some reason to believe that maybe we'll start to see the SEC and Big Ten having a little bit more harmony?
You know, yes, it's a great question and a great point. I don't think they're ever going to break off and do their own thing from the other leagues, but I do think the fact that they were in such agreement on this one, because they are leading the charge. The people are going to follow suit.
It's their sport.
Yeah,
let's just be honest.
And yeah, that's a great question, Hayes, and a great take. And I think where you're going with the question is you think so, and I do too. I think finally they said, listen, let's make some rules. It might be step one of, you know how the SEC said we're going to run off and make our own rules? Well, I don't know if they're going to do it alone, but they might do it with the Big Ten. Those two conferences still have to figure out the postseason, and I think it's going to land at 24. I think most people believe that now. But yeah, I think if the Big Ten and SEC ever get on the same page and stuff, well, there's your rule makers. That's it. There's your rule makers. So yes, I do think we're starting to see that. I do think that's where this is headed, and I do think that's a good thing for college sports. I think those two leaders. I've always said this. I've done this job for 38 years. And I don't care what sport it is we're talking about or what aspect of life it is we're talking about. At some point, common sense has to dictate. Common sense takes a beating too many times in these endeavors, but at some point, common sense has to dictate. And players playing for 4 teams in 4 years, that's not common sense. It's not. And so I think, and certainly a player going, I won't belabor it because I've said it 1,000 times, but pro camp and training table and weight coaches and playing against pros and then coming back and playing college obviously doesn't make sense. So, Hayes, I think common sense is starting to finally rear its head at least a bit. And I think the best way for that to do it is if Tony Batiti, and to your question, and Greg Sankey come together with a common sense view. And I think we're going to see. That's a great point, a great question. I think the answer to that is yes.
Because it makes me wonder, could the SEC and Big Ten just basically create their own thing? Not necessarily, we've always looked at it from a TV and a money and controlling the playoff, but now that you introduce this other component where if they were to break off, form a new conference, whatever they wanted to call that, and then self-govern it and say, these are our rules. We believe it legally holds up because players can go to other conferences, but this is what, we're in agreement that we're going to spend $23 million in rev share, and we're going to cap our NIL at, let's say, $20 million, a number that they've gotten comfortable with spending, and say that's it. And we're going to submit everything. We're not going to pay people under the table. A contract that a Northwestern, if a Northwestern coach signs a linebacker, everybody sees that. Florida sees that contract. Vanderbilt sees that contract. If Georgia signs a quarterback for NIL money, it's just like it works in the NFL. You see every contract is available for every team to see, and it makes you wonder, could that be a way they get around a CBA, is just going out on their own and saying, well, look, you don't have to come play for the SEC or Big Ten, but if you want to play in an SEC or Big Ten school, then these are the constraints and the construction
These are the
of how
rules.
we go about our business.
I think you're very close. I don't think it would happen where the others didn't join in. I don't think so. Back to your original question, if they made rules that everybody agreed to, you wouldn't need the CBA because we're just all going to agree to that. Yeah, I think for the most part, yes, that would work. It would have to be high end, like $20 million cap wasn't going to work. Now that the Protect College Sports Act has it to $48 million, which is what it is, then now the big schools agree to it. So yes, I think here's what I could see to your question. If the SEC and Big Ten say we're gonna agree on rules that make the most sense for us, and we're gonna both agree, yes. But then I think the Big 12 and the ACC agree to everything, and I think Notre Dame agrees too, because they don't want to play without those guys. And the what's the golden rule? The guy that has a goal makes the rule. I think that would happen. So I think the others would join in with them. I don't think there would ever be separation in rules or competition. But I think that this is a first example of that. No, I promise you, if the Sun Belt had said pro players can't come back here, nobody would have taken it seriously. The fact that the Big Ten said it, and make no mistake about this, I don't know if there's collusion rules in this or not. I don't know if that collusion qualifies here. But make no mistake about this. The fact that the SEC came out and said we're against it, the Big Ten came out the very next day and said we're not allowing it, and the rule is 50% suspension for coaches for half the season. The SEC came back later on and said the suspension is going to be 50%. You know they're in collusion on this. You know there's no question that Sankey and Petiti said we have to do something. It doesn't matter which one of us does it first. We now have to do this. And I think, by the way, all 18 or all 34 presidents were involved because all the votes were unanimous. I get a kick out of this. This guy, Darren Heitner is obviously a very good attorney, right? I'm trying to find the other guy's name, the Texas guy. What was his name? That barked about this. The guy, Newton or Newman or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's the reality. I think that both those guys are good attorneys. I don't think there's any question they're both good. Ryan Doughton. Okay, so Ryan Downton and Darren Heitner are the two opposing voices on this, right? And I don't doubt they're both very good attorneys, and they're both very outspoken on social media. Call me crazy, Hayes, but I'm going to guess that Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey and 34 presidents of major state universities probably have pretty good lawyers, too. Is that a good guess?
I think so.
I'm going to guess they probably had pretty good legal advice, too. And I'm going to guess they spent a bunch on that legal advice. And they knew good and well, once they made this announcement, what the pushback's going to be. They know from whom it's going to come. And I think they have a plan on what they're going to do and how they're going to combat that pushback the minute it happens. So, yes, back to your original question. If the Big Ten and SEC decide to make rules that they both agree on, could that set the markets, what you're asking? 100%. But I don't think they have to pull away to do it because I think everybody else would agree with them. We'll take a break. More college football about stuff on the field coming up after this.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
The home of Jaguars fans.
Follow every play, interview, and press conference.
Duval came out, supported us, and that's what we need.
1010XL, the home of Jaguars fans.
Soccer fans, your undefeated Sporting Jacks women are back home at Hodges Stadium this Saturday, August 29th, to take on Dallas FC. If you missed Bailey DeSmith smashed 2 goals with Ashlyn Puertes back of net and Jamie Gerstenberg with an amazing late-game save last week, don't miss it this week. Come support your Sporting Jacks women at Hodges Stadium. Tickets start at $20, and it's always thirsty on the pitch with dollar hot dogs and dollar beers. Get tickets at sportingjacks.com and come support your undefeated Sporting Jacks women this Saturday night.
Hey, it's Joe C. for Wingstop. Have you ever heard of a flavor rodeo? Now available at Wingstop. Carolina Gold, a bold blend of tangy mustard barbecue, apple cider vinegar, and savory spices for the right amount of southern sweet and tang. And Jamaican jerk, a rich barbecue sauce infused with chilies, thyme, cinnamon, garlic, nutmeg, and sweet molasses. Finished with a savory jerk season for an extra layer of flavor. Carolina Gold and Jamaican jerk. Now that's a flavor rodeo for a limited time only at Wingstop.
Train your putt with pitch-perfect pointers from the pros and Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser on Brunch with the Tour. Tuesday morning at 8:30. Teed up by Clearwater Irrigation and North Florida Medical Centers.
This is Hayes Carline from my friend Holt at Harold and Harold. There doesn't seem to be enough time in the day to get everything done. Then you get injured in an accident and you don't know what you're going to do. Let Harold and Harold make it easy for you. Easy on becoming a client. You can just text or email if you want. Easy on finding a doctor and getting through the process. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold and Harold and make it easy on yourself. Call them at 904-251-1111. That's 251-1111.
Hi, Frank Frangie here, inviting you to join my wife and me June 22nd of 2027 as we experience the food, wine, and culture of iconic Italy with Colette. Our journey takes us to historic cities and enchanting medieval towns. We'll enjoy a wonderful 7-night stay in the Montecatini Term A famous resort and spa town nestled in the heart of the rolling hills of Tuscany. Visit the cultural treasures of Florence, Pisa, and lovely Lucca. Along the way, we'll discover the food, wine, and old world charm, and even have a special chef-led cooking class. This and so much more. Colette handles the details, flights, hotels, meals, and the local experiences. Your only job is to have the time of your life. Don't miss joining my wife and me in Italy. Now, to learn more, visit 1010XL.com or call Colette at 800-581-8942.
Come away with me.
That's 1010XL.com or call Colette at 800-581-8942.
Hey gang, Hicken here. You know I've been using Zero Res for years now. Heck, I used a couple other guys way back when, even tried to do-it-yourself cleaning. Learned real quick that ain't for us. With Zero Res, the zero residue carpet cleaner leaves your carpets truly clean with no dirt-attracting soaps or harsh chemicals. And they're affordable. This month, get 3 rooms starting at $119 plus a free hallway for the remainder of the month. Call 287-5727 or visit ZeroResJacksonville.com and ask for the 1010XL special.
Zero Res.
Frank Frangie here for my friend and insurance agent Craig Dewhurst. Craig has been helping families on the First Coast with their insurance needs for 25 years as your good neighbor and local State Farm agent. Now's a great time to review your insurance policies, whether you need auto, homeowners, or renter's insurance, or insurance for your golf cart, boat, or jet skis. Craig handles all of my family's insurance needs, and even better, he gives back to the community. Call Craig today at 904-940-9740. That's 904-940-9740.
You see Daly's convenience stores all over the First Coast, and one thing you'll always see once inside Daly's is a cooler full of Bud Light. It's the official beer of the NFL, and every game goes great with a cold one. So head to your local Daly's the next time you stock up for the big game.
Late August is a funny checkpoint. Summer is still here, but September's standing in the doorway. This is Frangie. If weight, health, and feeling better were on your list to cross off, finalize it today at awaken180weightloss.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Back to a Coyle & Sons Wednesday. Since 1927, they've been around the block and probably fenced it, too.
We thank our friends from Coyle & Sons. Eric Gedemy and his team. What a terrific team it is. 904-356-4821. You hear me talk about them all the time because they do so much work for my operations I'm involved in. The Bregan Baseball Complex, Nimnik Stadium, all that stuff at Fort Family Regional Park. We're proud of that. Residential fencing, commercial fencing, overhead doors. And they're the official fence company, official partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, by the way. 904-356-4821 is the number. Or Coyle Jacks, C-O-I-L-E, jacks.com. If you need fencing, the Coyle people, those are the ones to call. All right, so let's start with Mensah. 34 touchdowns, 6 picks, big arm guy, played in the league, JJ, so he certainly knows the conference. By all accounts, apparently a really smart guy, from what everybody talks about. NFL prospect, like a big-time NFL prospect. But has the best receiver in the country for my money. Sorry, Jeremiah Smith. We all think what we think. I mean, I know he's not. It's my opinion. By all accounts, what could go wrong, right?
He doesn't have I've heard he doesn't have like the arm strength that, Beck and Cam had. But he could be a better college quarterback than like a pro prospect. So I think he's going to be able to make all the plays, all the throws like within 20 yards. And that's all he needs to do with these skill players. Like you said, Malachi Toney, he's a guy who, he gets open on deep shots. He did last year, but he mostly is, running crossers and getting open in the middle of the field and making a guy or two miss and then breaking a big play. Cooper Barkate's sort of apparently the same type of player. He came with him from Duke, so they have a rapport together. I just think he's going to have a spectacular season because Shannon Dawson's an amazing play caller. Whatever his strengths are that are different from Carson Beck, Dawson's going to be able to put that in. And he's a better runner than Carson Beck was, so I expect more running plays with him this year. So, yeah, I think the offense is going to average like 35 points a game.
In his 2 years as a starter, the one at Tulane, the one at Duke, started every game, never missed a game. In 2 years, Hayes, 56 touchdowns, 12 picks. 56 and 12 were his touchdowns to interceptions. Tulane, it was 22-6. Duke, 34-6. His completion percentage last year was 67%. And you're right. He's 6'3", 205, not 6'3", 235. So he's not a big physical rifle-armed guy. But, boy, it seems like on the surface, Miami found the guy again, doesn't it?
I think he can absolutely win the Heisman. I mean, you look at how Miami's schedule sets up. The first 4 at Stanford versus FAMU, at Wake, versus Central Michigan. So no one's going to really be paying much attention to Miami in September, but they're highly ranked, and he's going to have a great opportunity to pad stats, which helps because we know voters, that gets their attention when somebody gets off to, an unbelievable start. If he's accounted for 20 touchdowns before they go to Clemson on October 3rd, and he easily could hit that number, then, now he's got a Heisman chance at Clemson, where people are going to be paying attention to that game. They then have an off week. He then gets the rivalry game at home against the Noles October 17th. He then gets a couple of games where I think it's somewhat of a test, but I think he'll probably put up big numbers. Home against Pitt, at North Carolina. But then he gets the moment where he could really win the Heisman in. Miami goes to Notre Dame on November 7th, and that could easily be 2 of the top 4 teams in the country. So that's going to be a game day game, you would think. That's going to be, I don't know what the rest of the schedule looks like that day, but I can't imagine there's going to be very many games. They're going to be bigger than Miami, Notre Dame. If Darian Minsa goes into South Bend and beats the Irish, that is going to be about a month before voters turn in, their poll, their ballot. So I think that gives him a chance to make that big Heisman statement voters are looking for late in the year. And then he has a home game against Duke, a home game against Virginia Tech, and a home game against Boston College. I wouldn't think any of those three schools can really touch Miami this year. So he gets more opportunities to put up big numbers. So I think between the numbers that I think he can put up, the opportunities that I think he's going to have in the middle part, in the latter part of the year to really grab voters, I think Darian Mintz is a good bet to win the Heisman.
All right, let's turn the page to Ashton Daniels, who, by the way, if playing at all matters, if with football if he had been a basketball player, he wouldn't have been able to play this year except for the 5-on-5 because he played a little bit. Football, he didn't play enough for it to matter his freshman year. But Ashton Daniels, I'll say this, okay? He's played in 37 college football games. 37, okay? So it's not like he hasn't played. I mean, he's played in 37 games. He was Stanford's primary quarterback for back-to-back years. I mean, he was a starting quarterback.
Which makes you think he's got a high football IQ.
You would think, right?
At the very least.
Yeah, everyone looks at the 24 touchdowns and 22 picks, which isn't a very good number. And by the way, that number would scare me too. It scared me with Lagway, and it turned out to be Lagway really struggled with that. He's a 60% passer, not a 70% passer, so the numbers aren't great. But if there's one thing, now, by the way, he is a big guy. He's 6'3", about 225, so he's a physical guy. He had 1 year at Stanford where he rushed for 700 yards, so certainly he's a physical running quarterback type. He's a guy that doesn't have – there's nobody excited about Ashton Daniels. There wasn't a fight to get him. I don't know how much NIL money he got, but I'm guessing it wasn't a whole lot. But at least it's a guy, unlike DJ Uiagalelei when he went there, this is a guy who's played a lot of football. This might be the most experienced guy they've gotten there. Jordan Travis hadn't played a lot of football. Hey, he hadn't played much quarterback when Mike Norvell got him. DJ Uiagalelei hadn't played much football when he got him. Castellanos had, but he quit his team. Remember that? So if there's nothing else, at least there's a guy that's played a lot of football. If you're trying to find a silver lining in here, if nothing else, I'm intrigued to see what he looks like.
Yeah, and I appreciate the attempt to find the silver lining in the experience, but I mean there's nothing. Yes, he's played a lot, which also tells you if there was something in there, we probably would have seen it by now.
Yeah, and even on a bad Auburn team, he only started 4 games.
Yeah, so
I'm not trying to make something that's not there.
I also think too. I mean, this is again where it goes back to environment. I mean, every mistake is going to be magnified. The intense pressure in that locker room is immense because they all know their head coach is on the hottest of hot seats in the country. So he's going to get the gimme Saturday against New Mexico State, where Florida State's a 31.5-point favorite. So, that'll at least give him a chance to settle in. But then you bring in SMU, who, let's just be honest, is probably better than Florida State in terms of on paper. So, that's going to be a tough game. You then go to Alabama, so he could easily be 1-2. Well, once you're 1-2, Ashton Daniels, there's not going to be a lot of mulligans left. They then play Central Arkansas. Obviously, they'll crush them. Then they host Virginia. I mean, I'd say that's got to be at least considered a little bit dicey.
They lost to him
last year. And so then you go into a stretch at Louisville. I'd pick Louisville today. At Miami, who's going to name their score, and then a home game against Clemson. So I think you're looking at by Halloween, Norvell's fired, Sperry's probably the quarterback, and Ashton Daniels is an afterthought, would be my guess. I mean, they'd still have 4 games left at BC, at Pitt, home against NC State, and hosting Florida. But I don't think it'll matter. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think Ashton Daniels is any good. But I don't think it's going to matter because I think everything around him, he does have a great receiver to throw to, and they like their running backs. But, I mean, come on. They just have not looked functional as a football team for 2 years. And so I'd be surprised if he goes the distance as the starter.
And they have to replace their O-line again.
Right.
Huge question mark.
I will say this. Auburn had Jackson Arnold there and Ashton Daniels. You know how many touchdown passes Auburn threw last year? And by the way, they had Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton on the team. They had Cam Coleman.
Cam Coleman, arguably the best receiver that's not named, Jeremiah Smith.
And Eric Singleton, who the Gator sinker, is going to be off the chart. They had Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton. You know how many touchdown passes they threw as a team?
9.
11.
Wow.
They threw 11.
And I'm sure half those were against 1AA school.
They threw 11 as a team with Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton on the team. So
that's like the Jets not getting an interception all of last season.
It's very similar, isn't it? I mean, it's very, very similar to that. All right, so which takes us to Aaron Philo. Aaron Philo is, and by the way, all three of these quarterbacks are 6'2". Mentz is the lightest of the group. Actually, Philo's about 6'1". Philo's 215. Daniel's 225. Mentz is the lightest of the two. He's played 2 years now at Georgia Tech. He has thrown 100 passes. I mean, it's not like he's had 4 attempts. You know, he's not a 60% passer. So his numbers aren't great. His numbers are a 57.8% passer. But part of that was the freshman year when he wasn't really ready. He was way better last year. He only played the one game and played pretty well. But he's thrown 102 passes as a collegian. He's 59 of 102, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. But this is his chance. So he's played far less than the other two. Won a battle against another player who hadn't played very much in Tramel Jones. What is all this? Because I got a thought I'll get to about Aaron Philo, but what is all that? Where do you think he is?
I think
he played behind a veteran quarterback, by the way, who was very good. In fairness, very good for his team.
I think he'll be like decent to good somewhere in there. I don't think Aaron Philo will be a star. I think if he was going to be a star, that would be the buzz in Gainesville of, oh my God, you're not going to believe how good Aaron Philo is.
They wouldn't have waited to name the starter.
Yeah, the fact that he couldn't pull away from Tramel Jones tells me you can assume that means Tramel Jones is a great up-and-coming player. I'm going to take the probability of it's probably more likely that they're both just sort of average at least at this point. Now they could develop, but at least at this point, it's probably 2 average players in a battle. And so I like we talked about, I love the environment around Philo. I love his coaching. I love his receivers. Obviously, getting to hand the ball to Jaden Baugh is going to make things easy for him. Don't know about the offensive line, but at least there's a lot around him that should help him succeed. But my guess is there's going to be some games where you're like, why did he throw into double coverage there? And there's going to be some games where he misses open guys or doesn't see them. So I would say it's going to be more weakness than strength for quarterback for Florida this year. I still think they can have a good year because I do think they have a really good amount of talent at other spots. And I don't think it'll be a debacle, but I think it'll be sort of an average to above average year for Philo.
Here's my guess. I think he's going to be accurate. I think he's going to get out of the bad plays, get him into the good plays, more times than not hit the open guy. That's what I think. What I don't think is he's not a big arm guy. He's not an athletic guy. So I don't think he's going to make a lot of plays to win the game. Does that make sense? And I think if their defense is very good and if Baugh runs the ball well, he will be the ultimate game manager. That's what, when I look at him, those are my expectations. A guy that when things are going well and the play action game is working and guys are open, he's going to hit those guys.
Move the chains on 3rd and 4.
I think he's that guy, but I don't think
do anything crazy.
Right, but I don't see 29 of 36 for 412 yards and 5 touchdowns. I don't think that you need. There's an arm talent component there that I don't know. I haven't seen him. We're guessing at all these guys, by the way. Listen. None of us watched Stanford, Auburn, Duke, or Georgia Tech games last year. Who we kidding, right? We all went and watched highlights when the guys got to our school, but none of us watched those games. So, you can watch all the highlights you want. Highlights are good things. What you don't want, if you watch the game and the way a game plays out and you watch the rhythm of the game, you get an idea of the tenor of his play. None of us have seen any of these guys. But but my guess will be that Philo, I'm trying to think of a comparison, a guy that hits probably a healthy Mertz, okay? Mertz didn't have a big arm. Now, he got hurt too much, and he played for a horrible coach. But he wasn't going to make any great plays, but he was probably going to hit the open guy. that's my feeling of what I'm expecting this guy to
Are
be.
you worried about his lack of starts? Like,
Well,
you're
sure.
about to go to Auburn week 3, bro.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You know,
I think the biggest weakness is because we're in an age where everybody's got a veteran quarterback.
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Either they got Gunnar Stockton, who's been there forever, or they got Darian Mensah, who
on
just
their
got
third school.
Yeah. So no, I think that's a huge concern, which is why the point Hayes made. You got to name a guy and start giving him first team reps. He doesn't have games under his belt. So you got to make sure he gets as many reps under his belt as he can. Oh, I think that's in today's college. I mean, the Tennessee guy might be terrific. He's a freshman. In today's college football,
true freshman.
Yeah, true. I mean, in today's college football, where everybody has an old quarterback, it's harder than ever. One thing Kirby Smart said to me, I don't know if you, JJ, you were running the show, so I asked Kirby. I said, Kirby said, everybody's got these portal quarterbacks, and you're the one guy that's made it happen without those guys. How have you done it? And before he answered the question, he says, Frank, maybe we're getting it wrong. He said, you look at the national championship last year. The two teams that played for it had veteran quarterbacks who had played a lot of football. We may need to rethink how we're doing this. So, and I don't think he was being humble. I think he was really being honest. Let me make sure we're getting it right. So, yeah, I think the lack of starts is a major concern. It'll be fun to watch. We'll take a break. More in a moment. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
He's been dominant here throughout the evening at Daytona.
The NASCAR Coke Zero Sugar 400, the Saturday night summer special at Daytona. Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234. On 1010XL.
Hey, Tom McMahon is here from Helmets and Heels. You count on your vehicle every day. Whether it's getting to the job site, hauling the family around, or heading out for the game, it needs to be ready when you are. At Tom Busch Mazda, we service all makes and models. Oil changes, brakes, tires, diagnostics, major repairs. We do it all. Don't wait until a small problem turns into a big one. Make the smart play and schedule your service with Tom Busch Mazda today. Visit Tom Busch Family of Dealerships and see why so many drivers keep coming back.
This is Richard Miller with your Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles Update. Jaguars offensive lineman Wyatt Milam will be in store this Saturday, meeting fans and signing autographs. Wyatt will be at Showtime from 5 to 7 p.m. Our next in-store signing, Saturday, with Wyatt Milam. It's Showtime, Sports Cards and Collectibles. Update your collection.
Natural diamonds have not been this affordable in the past 20 years.
That's John Lupo at Beard's Diamonds, talking about how prices of natural rare diamonds have fallen pretty dramatically.
The best opportunity that I've seen in over 20 years.
So if you believe in buying low, John's son Ben says this is your chance.
It's really a good time to invest in natural right now. With prices being very aggressive for the consumer and for us, we're still able to pass along those savings.
Right now, Beard's Diamonds is stocked with both natural and lab-grown diamonds in all shapes and sizes at every conceivable price point.
We are happy to educate the consumer on lab-grown or natural diamonds, and we've got price ranges for everybody.
So at Beard's, you're not going to be pushed. You can choose natural or lab-grown. Get an unbiased education from non-commissioned experts and be guaranteed the highest quality and the best price.
We want to sell you something bigger, better, for less, and stand behind it 100%.
Discover real value today at Beard's Diamonds, a Jacksonville original in the St. John's Town Center.
I'm Matt Lennon with AB Signs. Your truck, trailer, or storefront should be your best salesperson. So I create custom signs and graphics that get your business noticed. Local, fast, and built to last. Call AB Signs and make your brand stand out.
Surely, you've heard of John Osher.
That's obvious.
Find out what he's heard about your favorite football team.
Is there anything else we need to know?
Listen for Jacksonville's senior writer weekdays on 1010XL. Served up by Twin Peaks.
Hi, I'm Blake Bortles. People know I've always said if I wasn't playing football, I'd probably be on a construction site. So Next Gen Roofing finally let me live the dream.
Blake, why are you wearing a red practice jersey?
Always worn it for safety.
Right. Well, around here, the red jersey means you're the new guy. So you're in charge of garbage cleanup.
Perfect. I love garbage time. Always excelled in it.
It's not exactly what I meant.
Good thing Next Gen Roofing has real pros handling everything from family homes to large commercial buildings. Next Gen, teamed up with you.
Teamed up with you.
Duval, hop aboard. This football season, skip the traffic and ride the JTA's Game Day Express. Just park at the Kings Avenue Garage or at FSCJ downtown campus and hop on board. The Game Day Express will take you straight to Everbank Stadium. Round trip rides are just $10, parking included. Purchase single game or season passes. Park, ride, relax, at least until game time. The JTA Game Day Express. Download the MyJTA app today and plan your ride.
This is Greg Huntington, aka The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com/Duval. That's WM.com/Duval and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's The Mangler.
Hey, this is Tony from Tony D's New York Pizza. Can you believe I've been making pizza here in Jacksonville for over 20 years? Thanks for the support and good times. We appreciate your business, and we're looking forward to another 20 years. Come out and see us at Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
All right, the golden moment. We've had all kind of good moments, but I think Brett Hastings stopping by today and I talk about the fact that the Big Ten and the SEC both have rejected pro players playing college sports. And the way Brett broke it down, that was the golden moment on the program today. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Are you ready?
It's Loser Monday, brought to you by Bono's on Bowden Road. Who's the big loser today?
All right. Well, let me tell you right now, here's the way the standings look. J.J. LaSelva, he hails from South Ocala. He's lost 3 times. NCAA basketball, Final Four, NCAA basketball in the U.S. Open. I've lost 3 times. Even though I picked 3 players in the freaking top 9 in the world, but don't worry about that. Lost the Players' Championship, the PGA, and the British Open. Hayes Carline, he hails from the Bowl School, is a gunner on that punt team. He lost the Masters and our NBA picks. I think he picked – did you pick Tyler Hero again? I think he picked Tyler Hero again.
I might as well have.
So 3 losses for me, 3 losses for JJ, 2 for Hayes. We do 10 events a year, so we are now down to 2 events left, the Tour Championship and the most home runs in the World Series. If anybody other than Hayes loses, you're off the hook for the loser of the year. Okay? Yeah, if you can't be the loser of the year if either one of us lose. Okay? JJ, if you or I lose, we take the loser lead with 1 to play, and if we lose again, we're the loser. If the other one loses, then we have a playoff. Okay? So there could be playoff action.
I'm ready.
There could be postseason action. So here we go. We're picking the Tour Championship.
I can't wait till we do the WNBA finals.
Hayes, please give us who we can and can't pick, please.
All right. So, Frank, you are on the clock. You cannot take Colin Morikawa, Scotty Scheffler, Tommy Fleetwood, Xander Schauffele, or Matt Fitzpatrick.
Okay. I probably should take Wyndham Clark because he's red hot. He's had back-to-back top 5 finishes, including winning last week. He's probably the smart pick. For whatever reason, I'm not taking him. I'm probably going to regret this. I'm going to take Cam Young, who's had a very good year.
Players champion Cam
Young. So I probably should take Wyndham Clark, but my gut tells me Cam Young's the pick. J.J. LaSelva.
I thought about Wyndham.
Do you want to know who he can't pick?
Yeah,
Who
okay.
can't pick? Yeah, my bad.
So, no, you're good. So, JJ cannot pick Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, Ludwig Oberg, John Rahm, or Rory McIlroy.
Okay.
And so I thought about Wyndham, but I just don't think he's going to be as good as he was last week. But a guy who's coming on, Colin Morikawa, who he wasn't great in the first
Hope he doesn't get hurt.
playoff event. Exactly. He wasn't great in the FedEx, but he was great last week. I think he's going to carry this momentum onto this week, so I'm going Colin Morikawa. Colin with 2 L's.
Hayes Carline from the Moss Point Grill. Who can you not take?
I cannot take Hideki Matsuyama, John Rahm, Cam Young, Rory McIlroy, or Scotty Scheffler. Very interesting because I'm with you guys. I don't like Wyndham Clark here either, even though he was fantastic on Sunday and has been just, wonderful.
Arguably player of the year.
Yeah, winning the U.S. Open. But I'm not putting my life in Wyndham Clark's hands, which maybe I'll regret. We'll see. It's funny that I thought one of us would have picked him since he was available, but I will go with Xander Schauffele, please. I think he's due to bounce. Hasn't been in great form. lately, but I have a hunch he might be due.
Okay, so Xander Schauffele.
You don't want to go through a whole season of Loser Monday without picking Xander.
Yeah, that's
He's
right.
just so reliable.
Yeah, so here's what I can tell you now. Now there's no doubt who's going to win the tournament. It's Wyndham Clark, okay?
Yeah.
So
Congratulations,
now,
Wyndham.
right, now that we've all three passed, that seems to be an automatic now. Cam Young for me, Colin Morikawa for JJ, Xander Schauffele for Hayes. We finally all make it to Sunday because there's only 30 players and there's no cuts. One more time, JJ's lost 3 times. I've lost 3 times. Hayes has lost 2 times. We do 10 a year. The last 2 are this, and the total home runs in the World Series once the World Series field is set. That's our Loser Monday picks. Back to wrap the program after this.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Streaming live from the XL Digital Studios. Polished by Harbor Dental Care. Official dental partner of the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The PGA Tour playing the Tour Championship, the season finale at East Lake Golf Club starting Thursday. The defending champion is Tommy Fleetwood. Scotty Scheffler is the betting favorite at plus 345 to win the Tour Championship. Rory McIlroy plus 790. Xander Schauffele, he's at plus 1275. Ludwig Oberg is at plus 1450. Sam Burns at 1500. Cameron Young plus 1600. And Wyndham Clark, who won last week at Bellerive Country Club just outside St. Louis, he's plus 1650 to win the Tour Championship.
Progressive helping veterans drive their lives forward. More info, keysofprogress.com.
I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010XL.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call now for your free evaluation and see if multi-unit hair grafting or PRP can restore your hair. Call 904-777-IHRS.
My bald spots are gone. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS is the only clinic in the Southeast to offer all proven solutions to restore your hair and is now offering multi-unit hair grafting. One procedure, more hair.
You've got nothing to lose but more hair. I feel younger, I look younger, and who doesn't want to feel better about themselves?
This year, grow your hair back. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-4477.
I'm Frank Frangie, and I can tell you, in this financial climate, or really any, it's never been more important to make your money work for you, which is why I'll recommend Mike McGuire and the Wealth Management Team at South State Bank. Financial planning is based on trust, because it's so important. You can trust the South State team. They offer the best combination of sophisticated wealth management strategies with a truly personal approach. That will help you meet your financial goals. Stop by your local South State branch and ask them to connect you with Mike McGuire and the Wealth Management Team. You'll be glad you did. South State Bank, member FDIC.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. From GFL, Green for Life.
Frank Frangie here for Bono's Pit Barbecue, and I've got 3 words for you. Ribs, ribs, ribs. Bono's Rib Platter are at a low price right now. Plus, you get 2 southern sides and garlic toast with each platter. Plus, beat the summer heat with Lou's Lemonade and Strawberry Lemonade. Ice-cold Southern Classic that's the perfect match for Jacksonville's favorite barbecue since 1949. To find the Bono's near you, head to bonosbarbecue.com. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. Head to Bono's today.
This is Hayes Carlyon for Harold and Harold. You know, I don't just talk about Harold and Harold. My family has trusted them. Holt and I actually go way back. We went to school together. Over the years, I've recommended Harold and Harold to my own friends and family because I've seen firsthand how they treat their clients. It's what they call the Harold Promise. You'll be treated like family, and they'll always work to make sure you take home more than they do. If you've been injured, call Harold and Harold at 251-1111.
Frangie here, and I got to tell you how proud I am of my daughter Amber and how much I appreciate the folks at Awaken 180. My daughter's lost close to 200 pounds. Now, look, most people don't have 200 pounds to lose, and Amber wasn't really proud of that, but she worked so hard. She lost 12 pounds in her first 2 weeks, and that quick start matters. It says this is working, keep going. And it isn't only Amber. Matt Hayes and Greg and Hacker, folks around here, I know them. I watch them get fast early results, too. Different goals, different amounts, same feeling. The scale moves, the doubt gets quieter, and you want to see what happens next. So why wait? Build momentum now. Before football season, fall schedules, and the holidays pile up. The next few months will get louder, not quieter. So whether your finish line is 25 pounds or 200, choose the program that has shown it can go the distance. Type Awaken 180 into your phone, click the call, and ask your questions. Then get the results everyone else has. You'll be awfully glad you did. Call today or sign up. Awaken180weightloss.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Now, the 2-minute drill is driven by nobody but Nimnicht. Nimnicht Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue and Nimnicht Buick GMC on Phillips Highway.
All right, let's say hello to our buddy Rick Ballou. The camp is over, Rick. Good camp for the Jags, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. Much better than a year ago. Much more expected, the things that they can do compared to a year ago, where at this time we just had really no idea. And they kind of played that way for the first 8 games of the season. But, overall, I thought it was a very good camp. Still a couple of big-time questions, which I'm going to address here coming up in just a couple of minutes. But I think Jaguar fans should be pretty happy about where this football team is.
All right, that comes up. I'm not going to have a handoff with you tomorrow because we got Jaguars programming. So I miss that. So I miss it, too. So let me ask you, and it's great that you're going to God's country. You and 11,000 of your best friends will be at the game. Weston, is there any chance Ashton Daniels any good? I'm not joking. I'm asking a serious question. Is there any chance?
Most def. Most def. I expect him to run wild against New Mexico State.
You do, but I'm asking a serious question. Is there a chance that
Grand Canyon State is on deck?
So is that a no?
No, you know what, Frank? And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I am. I have never known less about Florida State than I do right now. And there's a part of me that doesn't even give a what.
Yeah, I know.
Okay? 60 new players. He won't even release a depth chart.
Which is awful, by the way. Just awful.
2-12 in the last 2 years in the ACC. He's lost 11 freaking straight on the road. It's just awful. I hope he can play.
Yeah.
I do. I really hope he can play.
Yeah, you're right.
But more than anything, I want to see Mike Norvell get fired. So I'm ready to sacrifice the entire.
I get it.
Get him and all that dirty laundry and that filth. Get him out of there.
I got a hunch you're going to get your wish.
Get him the hell out of there.
What's coming up tonight?
Not that. I promise you. This is going to be a positive show. It's going to be a fun show.
I got it.
There'll be no mention of Mike Norvell over the next 2 hours. Let's see. Jonah Monheim.
Okay, good.
He played 4 offensive line positions at USA.
I did not know that. But
he was on the tackles as well.
Yeah.
And, they've moved them around center, both guards, and also John Osher. So we're going to wrap up training camp coming up in just a few.
All right. Rick Ballou goes into the night talking Jaguars and a whole lot more. That'll do it for our program tomorrow. We will be here from 2 to 4. 2 to 4 are my last day of the week and our last game before our last day. For A, the Jaguar Friday Nighter against the Bucs, and B, college football start. That comes up tomorrow. We'll see you at 2 o'clock. This is 1010 XL 92.5 FM.